Hello, my creative friends, and welcome to another episode of The Daily Prompt. This is Monday. Hope you have a fantastic new week ahead. So that means that today is time for Mindset Mondays in our whole new themed days of the week way of approaching this. By the way, I actually had a thought yesterday or whatever, about possibly doing a whole series of consecutive days, which would completely obliterate the theme of the week thing. So I don't know if this is a permanent way to do this. But anyway, for today, we're going to get you in the right mindset. So the thing that I specifically want to talk about today is really the ultimate Mindset Monday idea. And that really is that it's essential to have an open mind. Here's the reality of life, of our experience through life, of what it all is, what it all means, how we go about it, the struggles that we have, the opportunities that we want to reach for. Here's the bottom line right here in one simple phrase or sentence. Here it is. You cannot know what you don't know. It is impossible, I'm going to elaborate on our simple sentence. It is impossible to know what you don't know. And the reality is, if you think about, I have a small child now, a 7-month-old as I record this. And it's fascinating to watch this small child grow and learn and discover new things. When it's first a little baby, it's just sort of, things would whiz around over here and they'd sort of, look mindlessly at things. And now, a couple months into it, they're like looking at that thing. He's figuring things out. Things are taking shape. He's trying to see connections. He's discovering things. When he was just looking at things flickering around, it's not that at the end of the day, he had no way of knowing what he didn't know. He still has no idea what he doesn't know yet. And so everything is a learning process. Everything is about figuring out what he doesn't already know. Now, at a certain point, what happens to all of us is that we acquire sufficient levels of knowledge and information and detail and experience that we get enough of a handle on things to be able to do specific things, right? This is where the danger comes in, because once you think you know how to do something, you can very often close your mind to specific different ways of doing that thing that could get you where you're trying to go. I see this when it comes to screenwriting and storytelling and the screenplay world and all this stuff that I do. I see it consistently, all the time. Particularly from intermediate or advanced level writers, people who've been doing it for a while, people who I heard it recently referred to as the grinders, those people who are just plugging away, script after script after script. They'll read a bunch of books. Maybe they've read all the books. They'll do a bunch of courses. They've done all the courses. And then at a certain point, they're done with that stuff because they've done it. They know it. They get it. They understand the 3-act structure. They understand story dynamics. They understand character building. They understand how to create effective dialogue. They understand theme and subtext and all the major components. But here's the problem. If they're not actually writing material that's connecting, if they're not actually getting through those closed doors, if they're not actually making material that producers say yes to, something is missing. They haven't been able to fully bridge that gap. One of my biggest challenges is when I sat down to reverse engineer the process, my goal was not to teach screenwriting. My goal was to get writers from wherever they are, all the way to the end, to completion, to not just completion of a screenplay, but to completion of a production-ready screenplay, something that a producer can say yes to. Why did I want to build that? Because that's what, as a producer, I needed. So I don't need writers to understand story structure, to understand characters and dialogue and all this stuff just so that they know it. I need that, not even just so that they can turn it into a screenplay. I need it so that they can turn it into a screenplay we can actually say yes to. Here's the problem, though. So many writers that I have found along the way understand so much of the basics of it that they're sure they don't need anything new. And so they end up with all these little gaps in their knowledge, all these gaps in the process. Because what I discovered when I sat down to reverse engineer this process is that there are significant gaps along the way that writers don't know they don't know. And if you don't know that you don't know the gap that you have in your knowledge that's keeping you from that successful finish line, you will never get to that finish line. I don't mean to be a negative person on a Monday, especially. I want you to take this understanding, this awareness, and let it open up your mind and your imagination to seeing everything you already know through a new lens, from a different angle, in a new way. It doesn't matter that you know what you know. If it's not getting you to the results that you're trying to get to, something is missing. And if you're not open to re-examining the things you already know, rediscovering even the most basic fundamental things along the way, if you're not even open to understanding that and taking the complete journey, if you're not open to filling in those gaps along the way, you're going to be a grinder forever. You're going to continue spinning those wheels. You're going to create screenplay after screenplay after screenplay. You may get incrementally better as you go along. So maybe at some point, 10, 20, 30 years into the future, you'll have something that's viable. Yes, you can whittle a stone into a blade if you give it enough time. But there are quicker, easier ways. That doesn't mean those are quick, easy ways, but there are quicker, easier ways to get there. And the only way to achieve that, the only way to get there, is to open your mind, to understand, to really, truly, deeply, passionately, powerfully take on board the simple fact that you will never know what you don't know. It's not possible for us to know what we don't know. That's why people who have these firm beliefs, and this is the way the world is, and these people fight against each other. Somebody's 100% sure the world works like this. Somebody else is 100% sure the world works like this. Neither one of them knows what they don't know. If they were both open, if they both had open minds to reassess what they know, to reassess what someone else is telling them, to reassess the counter argument, to reassess the entire approach to the problem, that open mind would enable each of them to get much further, much faster. So today, and with your project, and with your approach to learning this stuff, I want you to really consider that it's entirely possible that the things that you know with certainty are not actually as certain as you think they are. And because of that, if you open your mind, you may see the little nuances that have been escaping you all along, and it will help push you to the end that you're trying to achieve. How's that for a Mindset Monday? At the end of the day, this is, like I say, the ultimate mindset. We have to approach our life, our ambition, our world with a bit of humility. Because you have your unique window on the world, and that is special, and that's where your stories are going to come from, and that is what's going to make you uniquely you and give you a voice that only you could ever have. But that window on the world means you have blinders to a lot of things just on the periphery. And if you don't open up your window as wide as you possibly can, you may miss the very things that will help you get where you're trying to be. So today's Mindset Monday is really open your imagination. Look at what you already know from a completely different angle. Think about what you already understand as if you don't understand it. Treat even the simplest ideas as if you were a newbie. Because if you do that, you're going to see something new in it because you do have all that experience. You do have all that bouncing around in the back of your imagination. And it will give new fire to even the most basic steps along the way. That's today's daily prompt, today's Mindset Monday. I really hope that you do take action with this. I really hope that you do follow through, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's an hour, whether it's all day today. Please take action. Please keep moving forward, and we will get you to your final destination. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.